What's up everyone, I'm Jason C, and today we have a quick review for the brand new Jefferson's Rye, a cognac finished whiskey. Jefferson's really not known for their rye whiskey offerings. The last one they ever released, you have to go all the way back to 2008. This one is not just a rye though, like I said, it's finished in cognac casks. Let's give it a taste here on the Mash and Drum. So Jefferson's was founded in 1997 by Trey Zoller and his father Chet, who is a bourbon historian. Now Jefferson's bourbon features a collection of bourbons made in small batches. Trey Zoller described his approach to whiskey as nature versus nurture. So the way he describes it is the distilled whiskey represents the bourbon in its natural state, which is then nurtured, enhancing the flavors and quality of the finished product through different selection, agitation, and environmental influence. Now we see this nature versus nurture approach in the Jefferson's Ocean lineup. On his friend's research ship, Zoller couldn't help but imagine the possibilities of a bourbon aged on the bow of a ship. Now, how would the constant agitation of the sea affect the aging process of his Jefferson's bourbon? So after 3 years of experimentation, they felt that the constant agitation and changing climate imparted a sweet caramelized flavor, reminiscent of dark rum, while the salty ocean air and sea spray gave the bourbon the savory, briny character of an Islay Scotch whiskey. Now, being an Islay Scotch whiskey lover, I probably would not go that far. I don't think I've tasted a Jefferson's Ocean that really tasted like an Islay, but I do think there is a saltiness to them that you can taste depending on which release you get. But today we're talking about their new rye, and first since 2008. I wanted to look at rye through a new lens and elevate it past the supporting role it's commonly associated with, said Jefferson's bourbon founder Trey Zoller. Now, the spirit, spice, and character have historically made it an ideal base for cocktails, but Jefferson's Rye Cognac Cask finish is just as well suited for sipping. All right, so Jefferson Straight Rye Whiskey is finished in cognac cask. It marries the spice of American rye with the refinement of cognac. Double barreled for at least 9 months and up to 19 months in Kentucky. It's bottled at 94 proof and is now available across the country with a retail price of about 70 bucks. All right, so I'm using a new glass. This is from my buddy Troy over at the Louisiana Bourbon Collective. Big shout out to Pop 'em, Don't Watch 'em. If you guys haven't watched that channel, go check out Troy. Thanks for sending this, buddy. I really like this glass actually. So let's go to the nose, see what we get. So the first thing that I got off the nose on this was a mix of that minty rye spice combined with those candy, you know, the sugary, the peach rings. It's very peachy to me coming off the nose. The trolley, you know, the little trolley peach rings. I think, yeah, I think that's it. Definitely some orange there too, I think, from the rye. Usually, inherently, you get some nice orange spice from a rye. I'm actually picking up a little lemon zest too. There is some herbal qualities coming through from the rye. The cognac really isn't overpowering it. So remember, cognac is a brandy. It's essentially a brandy that's made in Cognac, France. That's why it can be called cognac. It's made from white wine grapes, basically, and distilled and aged. Usually there's some good age on it. Usually you see them anywhere from 15, 25 years. They can get pretty up there in age and also in complexity. If you've ever had white wine before, sometimes the sweeter ones can definitely give off some peach, some apple, some of those brighter fruit notes. I think here you're definitely getting the peach, but it's got a nice little mix of minty and you know, that rye spice that's there. So, all right, let's go for a sip. Here we go. So this is one of those times where the nose matches the palate. Again, I'm getting, you know, what I was scared of was the cognac taking over the spice a little bit. You know, as a rye or a finished rye, you want that spice to still be there. You don't want it to be overtaken by, you know, the finish that they're that they're utilizing to enhance the flavors. You really just want to keep that rye spice in there as well. And this is definitely doing that, especially on the first sip. You get the peach rings, you get some of that orange zest in there, but that's kind of sandwiched in between the front and the back of the palate, which is bringing some nice rye spice. And let's go for another sip. All right, so second sip, the rye spice softens up a little bit, but starts to come back on the very, back end of it. The black pepper, almost like a spearmint tea, comes on the very back end of it. All the peach and all the orange, a little bit of the lemon, they definitely hang around here. Getting a nice little punch of cinnamon too on the back end as well. Let's go for another sip. It's definitely unique. I mean, the peach rings are still there, the orange. But I feel like the more I'm sipping this, the rye kind of wants to punch through more. I feel like on the nose, you really get all the fruit flavors, and that's what I was a little bit scared of coming through on the palate as well. It actually drinks really nice for a rye whiskey, for a 94 proof rye whiskey. I feel like it's not overly thin. It's got a little bit of heft to it, which is always good to experience. You don't want it kind of blowing right through your palate too fast. Let's go for another sip. Yeah, this is nice. There's absolutely nothing off-putting about it. I think you get the orange from the rye spice, but that peach ring note, a little bit of that cinnamon, but I think the peachiness is really coming through, is really showing that cognac. It's good, and like I said, the rye spice, the more I sip this, it's coming through. It's staying true, it's not going away. Really nice sipper. Let's do one more sip, and then we're gonna compare it to the only other cognac rye finish that I could find, and I actually happen to own it. Totally forgot I had this bottle, and that's the Sagamore Cognac finish from Sagamore Spirit. Another sip. Oh man, I finished it. Well, there's a little bit left in there. I'll have to pour more, but yeah, this thing is very easy to sip. It's kind of dangerously delicious. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's peachy, it's orangey. I think the peach and the little bit of a lemon zing there, some of the cinnamon is really kind of the standout flavors in this. But what I love about this is that the spiciness is still there. I think it's a great sipping rye. I don't think it's off-putting at all. I think it's different. Let's compare it to the Sagamore Spirit and see how they compare. All right, guys, so here's the Sagamore Spirit. This one comes in at 101 proof, so slightly above the Jeffersons. And this one is also, I got for 60 bucks, if I remember correctly, rather than the 70 bucks in the Jeffersons. Plus, when you look at the color difference, the Sagamore is definitely a few ticks darker. So let's go to the nose and see if there are any similarities, differences. Let's see what we get. So the Sagamore Spirit is coming off darker and richer in the glass here, and that doesn't surprise me based on the color, because the Sagamore is actually seems like it could have been, and now it might be the proof, but it feels like it was maybe aged in a little bit of an older cognac than you're getting here in the Jeffersons. The Jeffersons is coming off like just candy. I mean, if you're a fan of sweet whiskeys overall, this one is just, that trolley peach ring note, almost like an orange sherbet coming off here. Yeah, when I first tried this, I was referencing Flintstones. Do you guys remember the Flintstones, the push pops? I had those growing up, and it was like the orange sherbet. That's what I'm getting out of the Jeffersons too. It's like that combination of orange sherbet and peach. Now in the Sagamore, yeah, Sagamore is way more like raisin and yeah, it's like raisin and dates and honey, like dark honey. For me on the nose, I feel like the Sagamore wins it, but the Jeffersons is not that far behind. It's just a different type of nose. It's just more on the sweet side. All right, let's try the Sagamore. With the Sagamore, great rye spice as well. It's hanging on there. Those dark fruits are coming through, the raisin, the date, the honey, all there. Again, this is another instance where the nose is matching the palate. Got a nice little proof point there, a nice good little burn. One more sip. This one's coming off so raisiny. Man, I say it a lot, that Sun-Maid box of raisins. I'm definitely getting that in the Sagamore. All right, let's go to the Jeffersons. All right, so I think here's the difference for me with these two. While the Sagamore comes off a little bit darker and richer in flavor, I think the Cognac is overtaking the rye spice a little bit. The Jeffersons, while not as dark and rich, it's more sherbet and peach. The rye spice in here, the pepperiness, the spearmint, that black pepper note that you get is more prevalent on this one. I'm not really sure which one I like more. I just think it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. But if you like the darker, richer notes, go for the Sagamore. If you like those sweeter profiles that I'm describing here, the orange sherbet, the peach rings, if that's more of your flavor profile, but still keeping that spice, then go over then try the Jeffersons. I think it's actually a pretty great whiskey. I am not, I'll be honest, I'm not overly a fan of Jefferson stuff normally, but this one, I'm liking this one. I'm digging it. All right, guys, well, hope you enjoyed this review for the brand new Jefferson's Rye Whiskey Cognac Finish. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram, find me on Twitter. Let me know if you've had this yet. This is available all across the country right now. Again, it's right at that $70 price point. Now, it's definitely a little bit pricey for a rye. It is unique, especially when compared to this Cognac finish from Sagamore. It's a little bit sweeter, a little bit brighter. But the thing that's selling me on this one is you're getting a nice finish, you're getting those sweet flavors, and you're not losing the backbone of the rye whiskey with it. So with that, if that sounds good to you, happy hunting. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. I'll see you next time on The Mash and Drum. I'm digging this one, man.